Sa ngayon po ay nagsasagawa naman ng press briefing ang NDRRMC. Panoorin po natin ito.
Community, the set of telephone numbers and contact persons for international aid. So the first step will be for them to go to the DFA to express their intention to help, which is very welcome, and DFA will process. Okay, importante po to dahil as we speak, we do not want to send the wrong signal na ayaw natin sila. Diba? Pero ang problema ho natin, we also need to be very careful about the absorption capacity that is there. For example, we have a combat field hospital from Israel coming in 2-star lifters, complete with a 200-man medical team. Okay, you put up a hospital like that, but we also know that we already have 1 or 2 hospitals in Tacloban and so on and so forth. So kailangan hong pag-isipan kung saan ilalagay, kasi ayaw mo naman ilagay in a lugar. Baka naman sayang yung facility na yun na walang magagamit, di ba? So one of the things we did, for example, we had a German medical, a fully capable medical search and rescue and everything team from Germany. What we did was we sent them to G1 because we knew G1 needed it. So kailangan ho pag-usapan kung saan pupunta to be able to effectively make sure that we put them where they can make the best impact. What we do not want, the President was saying, ayaw naman natin na sugod tayo ng sugod, and we put them somewhere and then eventually wala namang mangyayari sa kanila doon. Sayang din naman po yung resources. Okay, so kaya natin ayusin po at pag-usapan yung proseso. So, first contact will be DFA. Depending on what the offer is, DFA will then push to 2 sets of information. For example, if it is an offer for medical assistance, DFA will push it to DOH and to NDRRMC, because NDRRMC is the central location for all of this, right? If it is a donation of food or resources like that, the intention is what we need is, for example, Taiwan has been delivering, C-130s. I think we've had 2, 3, or maybe even 4 flights continuously flying food. So the way that was coordinated is DFA gets in touch with the SWD, we define what is needed, and the decision comes back to NDRRMC as to exactly where that will be deployed. Okay, now, as soon as the decision to deploy it is made, then the other support groups come into the picture. That's why we wanted it in NDRRMC, because the OPC is designated as the transport controller. The Armed Forces of the Philippines has taken over some of the airports and the actual air operations. Now, for example, when Taiwan donates X tons of resources, where will they bring it? That's the first question. Our problem is Tacloban Airport, though it is open, the equipment is not complete. That is why we are not allowing anything larger than a C-130. So, although originally Tacloban used to handle A320 flights, for safety considerations, hindi mo na pinapayagan ng kaap yung A320. So, if it's a C-130, kunyari yung sa galing sa Taiwan, yung C-130 nila, tinatanong po natin, ano po ang laman ng C-130 ninyo? Bakit? Kasi kailangan natin desisyonan kung saan siya dadalhin, di ba? So, our guideline there is as follows. If your aircraft is not very big, and you want to go to Tacloban, yes, we will consider that, provided it is clear that the contents of your aircraft do not need any special handling nor repacking. Bakit po? Ang gusto natin, pag naglanding nila sa Tacloban Airport, diretso ready for distribution yung goods, because we do not have warehouses, we do not have the logistical infrastructure to do any processing or repacking. So when I was told that the shipment from Taiwan was, part of it was rice packed in 25 kilos, siyempre hindi pwede yun kasi hindi natin pwede ipamigay in that quantity because mahihirapan yung tao. That's why we decided dalhin muna sa Cebu even if it is a C-130 flight. For example, if the Israeli contingent comes in, we cannot send them straight to Tacloban because their airplane is too big. Okay, so we need to take them to Cebu first, and then we will transship them. Now, here is where the coordination, and that's why the working group needs to understand the process. Pagdating ng goods sa Cebu, tatanggapin ng DSWD to account for where it is, what's going to go, and simultaneously, diba, we designated Cebu as a logistics support center. There is an Air Force General ba or an Lieutenant General who is in charge of the logistics center in Cebu. Automatically, that flags the transport or the movement group into action, which is yung grupo ni General Oban, DOTC designated General Oban as the lead coordinator for all movements, whether it's land, sea, or air. So that group decides what is the best way. Okay, unang decision is where does these goods go to? That is a decision that will be made by the SWD. Okay, next question will be how do we move these goods there? That decision will be made by the logistics or the mobility group under DOTC and General Oban. So, pagdating ng goods sa Cebu, sasabihin, saan dadalhin? Some of it will go to Ormoc. How do we bring it to Ormoc? Ito dadalhin sa Tacloban. How do we bring it to Tacloban? Considering the urgency and the priority of the goods that arrive. Okay? So, it's very important that everybody understands that operation para ho no hiccups and we can be efficient in moving things a lot faster. Now, if a group is coming which is international volunteers who want to help, who want to bring large aircraft, the preference is land them in Cebu. Okay, that is going to be coordinated again by DFA with the appropriate agency, which is in this case going to be the Department of Health. Bakit po? Number one, we have to process their immigration, we have to process so many things. So we have arranged with the BID to set up a special processing center in Cebu just for international volunteers. So I talked to Commissioner Mison yesterday, and then we also talked to FDA because yung medicines na nadadalhin nila dito, we need to issue lang a certification, one of those things. Plus, the doctors need to be registered by the Professional Regulation Commission. Not naman that we need to certify them or anything. It's just that we need to know their names just in case we will be asked in the future. No? So rather than have this happen all over the place, it was agreed that it is going to happen in Cebu. That is why all incoming flights, assistance na may kasamang tao and volunteers, ideally should land in Cebu. Beyond being ideal, everybody knows that Manila International Airport is already very crowded. Diba? Pag siningitan mo pa yung flight schedules ng runway use, we're going to crowd Manila International Airport even more. That is why we'd rather have all those starlifters, all those huge planes that will come, we'd rather they go to Cebu. Okay, why? Because Cebu is closer anyway to the scene of the disasters. Whether we bring the resources to Eastern Visayas or to Western Visayas, Cebu is still going to be a lot closer than what is happening than if we take it from Manila. Okay, so yan po that is going to be the flow and the coordination so that everybody can move accordingly. Again, the coordination between the agencies, we're making sure that happens. That's an ongoing discussion. Now, let's discuss the Manila to Tacloban resources, okay? We have been provided by the United States government 8 C-130s. Okay, these 8 C-130s have been prioritized for relief goods only. Okay? So, this is not for passenger traffic, this is not for anything else. This is really relief goods only. Why? Because these C-130s are not configured to carry passengers. And also, we want to make sure that we are able to move the goods. So, all the relief goods from Metro Manila that can be handled by airlift, provided weather in Tacloban allows us, provided resources allow us, we will airlift as much of them as we can through the American C-130s. Now, our own C-130s will handle the other loads, okay, but we will also deliver relief. You all are aware that we have started flying relief goods directly to Giwan. Okay, because we now have access, well, Giwan Airport is established, PNP sent a team, AFP sent a team. As a matter of fact, we sent a German contingent there to help. So Giwan has become also a hub, not just for Giwan, but for the rest of the Samar towns in the vicinity of Giwan. And why was Giwan chosen? Because it has an airstrip. So our logistics movement, para hindi tayo mahirapan, will go into Giwan, and from Giwan will be distributed to the towns of Eastern Samar that were most affected. Okay, so C-130 flights to Giwan will continue for relief goods, medical supplies, and everything, because we will stock up Giwan for a full operation. DPWH also informed us that the road to Giwan is finally open. So the way to Giwan will not just be through air, but we're also going to use transport, land. Okay, by land na rin. Traffic na kasi yung ano pangalan ng road na yan, sa left side ng Samar. The western side of Samar, the one that goes to San Juanico, grabe yung traffic because we're using that to move goods into Tacloban, di ba? So the road to the eastern side of Samar is now accessible except for 2 or 3 junctions na magiging one-way because one lane because of the bridge approaches, but otherwise that's open. So that's the other way we will send resources into the Giwan area for the rest of Samar. 9 o'clock this morning, Secretary Soliman flew to Ormoc. Okay, we have decided that national government will establish a remote center also in Ormoc. This time to take care naman of the towns of Leyte that were affected that will be accessible from the south. What does that mean? That means that there will also be goods that will flow from Cebu, which is a closer hub, to Ormoc. We will not fly Manila to Ormoc. Okay? What we have is we fly in bulk from Manila to Tacloban. Fortunately, the Americans have also made available a few of their Ospreys. These are smaller aircraft, which will now be used to distribute from Tacloban to Ormoc and to the other remote sites. Ideally, we don't want to use these air assets for a Tacloban to Ormoc site kasi we can access Ormoc anyway by boat from Cebu. So the flow of goods must come from Cebu to Ormoc directly. As we speak, that's happening. Okay, that's why Sec Dinky, as I said, is in Ormoc. She's setting up the DSWD center in Ormoc. I think she's bringing in people from Mindanao, no? We're augmenting, DSWD is augmenting the team in Ormoc with DSWD people from Mindanao because we really want that hub to prosper also. Okay, so sa international arrivals, maliwanag na po kung how it's going to happen on the movements. We've also agreed. We've had to impose more strict rules in the use of the Tacloban airport. Why? Because we want to be able to use it efficiently. Okay, so there is a prioritization on the kind of aircraft that will be allowed there. There will be a balance. There's a commanding general who's been assigned to make sure that that's flowed in appropriately. Okay, let me stop here for a while so I'll entertain questions so that everybody's clear. Yeah, we will explain. Any questions po from the different agencies? We will try, sorry sir, yes sir.
Sir, we're getting several, the PNP is getting, I'm supposed to also the DFA, we're getting several requests regarding organizations who want to deliver goods by land. I would like to ask if we were telling them to please kindly coordinate with DSWD for coordination, and should we escort these organizations?
Okay, last night, sir, the General Polissima was in the meeting last night. He gave us his view of how the security arrangements for all these goods are concerned. So there was a discussion about convoy management and making sure they're appropriately escorted. There is now coordination between PNP and the OTC through the Office of General Oban, because they will be the ones that is supposed to, they're the ones who's moving, diba? They're also coordinating because of the buses that we're trying to bring into Tacloban. So yung control na yun, sir, the coordination will be PNP directly with the OT, with Secretary Abaya and General Oban po.
Sir, in addition to that, the standard operating procedure in Samar and Leyte is that all movements of goods must be escorted because of the some elements who would like to get those goods.
Miski sir, yung kunwari sir, yung
But
maliliit na organization.
from here up to Allen, we could not really provide security. But from Allen, going to the different cities and provinces of Samar and Leyte, that must be escorted.
Also the PWH has set up a center in Catbalogan. Now, just for you to understand, if we cannot bring everything directly to Tacloban until we are able to clear the things in Tacloban, right? For example, we have about 200 or 300 generators that have been dispatched. Instead of bringing all of it to Tacloban, where magkakagulo lalo yung distribution on, DPWH will bring it first to Catbalogan, so that from Catbalogan, based on NDRRMC decisions, those generators can be dispatched to the appropriate destinations. Para hindi naguguluhin yung operations. We don't want to rely on Samar, on Tacloban, for kung pwede ho, whatever we can do outside to Tacloban, we will try to do it so that yung Tacloban we can focus on the relief operations for the residents in Tacloban. So, I believe there was a discussion last night, General Purisima, specifically on the Catbalogan coordination. Because parang malaki ata yung site ng DPWH doon eh. Okay. So even heavy equipment actually that is being volunteered for Samar and the northern Leyte part will be in Catbalogan, while the ones volunteered for the southern part of Leyte will come in through Ormoc because the roads going by in Duardis is already okay po. Okay, other questions po? So everybody, we now know how to coordinate all these things. No? Now let me talk about the bigger challenge, which is, so the numbers are coming in. We know we're going to have to feed and take care of a big number of people. Okay. We accept the fact that existing structures will not be able to handle it. So we are getting ready. As usual, the President said, let's hope for the best but assume the worst. So we are making a very bold assumption on a number that we need to deliver. So what are we going to do? We are going to open, the SWD will open repacking logistics centers in all major cities across the country. Okay. In Manila, in Metro Manila, the SWD is now talking to some of the universities. One university has already agreed to set up a repacking center there in the school itself so that their students during their break time or what will help. We're looking at, actually after this I have a meeting with the SWD, we're looking at 2 or 3 other big sites in Metro Manila. Now, there is last night we finished a plan, a very good plan. We have a time frame of a 1-week scenario, a 2-week scenario for operations, and even the sustainability, what happens thereafter, all the way down to a discussion on the local employment situation in the area. So it's a pretty complex situation, but let me explain lang briefly what the challenge is and how we're going to do it, okay? So we're going to open additional repacking centers outside these main disaster centers because we need to give the disaster areas a chance to recover. Eventually, when the disaster areas would have been in a better situation, we will move these logistics relief centers closer, if not specifically inside them, so that what we will transport will not be repacked goods, but bulk goods. And we will use the population in the affected areas as labor to do the repacking for their own relief goods, which is good because it will be cash for work, will provide resources there. Now, while that plan is still being perfected, that's not going to be easy. That's going to take us about, I don't know what we committed to the President last night, but the President wanted it really fast. So the SWD is going to be operating that plan. So while we are waiting for that plan, let's all get ready for an increase in the volume of goods that we will need to move. Okay. So if we're going to double the production capacity of the Metro Manila centers, that means we're going to have double the volume of food packs that we need to repack, to transport to whether to the airport or to the port, and eventually take to whatever destination we will bring it to. No? Tacloban Port will be open, I think today. There's a PPA clearance that's needed for the underground area, but the pilots are working on it. So we loaded, I think, about 60,000 food packs into a commercial vessel who volunteered to bring it for us to Tacloban. I'm not sure whether the loading was finished last night. It's supposed to be, that boat is scheduled to leave today. So that's a huge resource. It's 60,000 plus. There's only 45,000 families in Tacloban itself, but that will also address the rest of the area. We are trying to move 20,000 packs today over and above the 60,000 that's on its way there. So we need to coordinate lang the movement.
Balikan po natin ang isinasagawang briefing sa NDRRMC.
So used to that. This structure has been around for a few years now, and I'm so confident we can make it work. It's just that we've had to make a few adjustments because of the size, the magnitude, and the breadth. Ang lawak po nito eh. Okay? It's not, hindi lang one province or what. That's why we've had to iron out some of these structures. So thank you very much po. Hindi mo na ako spokesperson eh. Okay. Yes.
May mga pumupunta sa mga
Yan po ang press conference na isinagawa nitong si Secretary to Cabinet Rene Almendras, at siya nga po ay nagsasabi na naglagay na sila ng flow para mas maging organized talaga itong relief operations na isinasagawa ng gobyerno. Ang Cebu daw po ang kanilang itinalagang logistics support center, at nais nila na imbes na dalhin sa Manila, halimbawa yung mga relief goods na nanggagaling sa ibang bansa, ay ito ay dali na sa Cebu, at mula sa Cebu tsaka ito itatransport doon sa mga lugar na nangangailangan ng tulong. Ang sinasabi rin po niya, para naman po doon sa mga international volunteers ay gusto nila na mag-land sila sa Cebu, at doon muna ay sasailalim sila sa proseso. Halimbawa yung FDA natin ay kailangan tingnan muna yung mga medisinang dala ng mga volunteers, at yung mga doktor naman ay ire-register muna ng PRC. Nang sa ganun ay magkaroon ng kaayusan itong sinasagawang relief operations. At sabi nila malaking tulong yung binigay o pinahiram ng US government na 8 C-130, at ito raw po ay mapapabilis yung pagdadala ng relief goods sa mga apektadong lugar. At sinabi rin niya na si Secretary Dinky Soliman ay nasa Ormoc sa ngayon, at sila po ay nais makapag-transport at mag-establish ng remote center sa Ormoc. So mula po Cebu ay pwedeng dalhin yung mga relief goods sa Ormoc, nang sa ganun ay hindi lahat ay inilalapag doon sa Tacloban. At mula doon sa Ormoc, doon sila magsisimula ring mamahagi para naman doon sa mga lugar na accessible mula sa Ormoc. At sinabi rin niya na ang US aircraft, halimbawa na maliit at maaaring magdala ng relief goods mula naman sa Tacloban papunta na sa Ormoc. So ang pinapaliwanag po ni Secretary Almendras kanina ay gusto nila may kaayusan dahil sa lawak nga po ng pinsala at sa laki ng trabaho na kailangang gawin. At inassure din ng gobyerno na bibigyan ng PNP escort itong mga relief goods na ito, nang sa ganun ay makapunta talaga at makarating doon sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na doon sa mga lugar na hindi pa rin po accessible o nararating ng tulong sa ngayon. Alam nyo naman, ng mga nakarang araw, may mga balita po, alimbawa ng pagharang dito sa mga itinatransport sana na relief goods.
That was the whole point.
At yan po ang mainit na balita sa oras na ito. Tutok lang dito sa GMA News TV para oras-oras alam mo. Ako po si Sandra Aguinaldo. Magandang umaga.